Yeah, hi, Marnie. So you do have some mixed reaction from here on Capitol Hill. In one sense, there is this acknowledgement that in the traditional sense, when you think of bailout, that Silicon Valley Bank certainly wasn't bailed out in that way because it's no longer going to exist. But there is a concern among some lawmakers you talk to that ultimately the impact of the bank collapsing is going to fall on bank customers, on regular folks, because if banks ultimately end up raising some of their user fees as a result of this, and that's definitely a possibility, then it is going to be every account holder that ultimately pays something for this. Now, in just a couple of moments, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is going to be testifying before the Senate Finance Committee right next to us in this room. We're preparing for that to begin. NewsNation was able to obtain a bit of her opening statement here. She is going to try to reassure Americans that the banking system is generally safe. And I want to put up on your screen here just a bit of what she is going to say. She says, quote, "I can reassure the members of this committee that our banking system remains sound and that Americans can feel confident that their deposits will be there when they need them. This week's actions to demonstrate our resolute commitment to ensure that depositors' savings remain safe." Now, look, SVB going under, obviously the second largest bank collapse in American history. It's going to have some ripple effects through the economy. And there are questions about the future of mid-sized banks across the country. There are reports this morning that some of the larger banks, like JP Morgan Chase, like Bank of America, are starting to see a big influx of new customers coming in, opening up accounts, people who've taken their money out of mid-sized banks equivalent to SVB, concerned that they may share the same fate, and putting it into the bigger banks. And we talked to some senators who tell us, frankly, that a lot of the big banks try to take advantage of situations like this, Marnie. Lawmakers tell us it's going to be their job to try to rein that in and stand up to the banking industry to make sure that that doesn't happen and that people's confidence in those mid-sized banks remains strong.
Right, because there's a lot of uncertainty. If enough people pull out, then it's those banks that start to close.
Yeah.
Joe, is there a legislative solution to some of these concerns right now? Is Congress, or how is Congress preparing to respond?
Yeah, nothing concrete yet, Marnie. I can tell you there is a lot of discussion around this 2018 law that eased some regulations on mid-sized banks like SVB. There have been these discussions about that. A number of senators wondering whether, if that were not put into place, would the SVB collapse still have happened, or would there have been more regulation that could have maybe prevented it? But at this point, that conversation is just a conversation. We haven't seen any actionable moves. In fact, there are basically every Republican and a significant number of Democrats supported that bill back in 2018. So far, we haven't heard any Democrat who supported it change their position this point. So unlikely that that moves forward, but at least it is being discussed among a number of lawmakers here on the Hill.
All right, well, we'll get ready to listen to Yellen testify, and we'll bring that to our viewers at home. And also, we'll be talking more about this situation throughout the hour. Is your money safe? What about your 401k? All questions that people have. Joe, thank you. Now to the latest in the saga of embattled New York Congressman George Santos. Despite members of his own party calling for him to step down, the freshman Republican did file paperwork to run for re